Good evening and welcome to the Stano Show. I am Stano and this is episode 2 of this. Episode 2. What am I saying? This is episode 4 of the Stano Show. I am Stano, and again, welcome to my channel. And if this is your first time watching this channel, I discuss movies. I discuss my favorite movies, some favorite scenes. I asked you for what your favorite scene is. This is just an open discussion. And as you can see in this week's episode, we are going to discuss baseball films. It's that time of year where we have baseball going on now. We're close to Memorial Day weekend. And if you haven't watched it, go back to last week's show where I discuss my Memorial Day weekend movies and where I got into the movie Glory. And you can see that on the Stano Show episode 3. I try to have this show once a week on Wednesdays at 7, but this week I have to have it a little bit early. I got some personal things I have to take care of, so I decided let's have the show on Monday. And again, welcome to the show. I'm trying to build this channel to discuss movies and have a good time, and we can sit here and chat together. And if not, I'll look at your comments at the end of the show, and hopefully I can comment on them. So again, this week, all about the baseball films. And I'm going to go through a few films that everybody's probably seen, everybody's probably watched, but I'm going to go deeper into a film that I've always watched as a kid, and I'll give you my insights and personal stories of when I saw this movie. But let's first start off with Bull Durham. Bull Durham is a great movie with Kevin Costner. And as we know, Kevin Costner's made a lot of baseball movies. But Bull Durham, this is a classic movie. Just funny, a comedy. Susan Sarandon, great. Tim Robbins. There's a lot of people in it. I think Robert Mull, I think it is, isn't it? I can't remember. But there is a lot of people in that movie. And it's just a great film. Great baseball movie. Just some of the comedy that happens on the field and off the field. And moving on, I'm trying to get to my slides here. Moving on, as we all know, A League of Their Own with Tom Hanks. Classic Tom Hanks movie. Gina Davis, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, about the Women's Baseball League. This movie, directed by Penny Marshall, just a great comedy, great drama too in it. There's some sad parts in that movie, some serious parts in the movie because it's all happening during the war, and the women's in baseball. A lot of the men went overseas to fight the war, so they started a women's baseball league, and it's one of my favorite too, and hopefully it's one of yours. Pride of the Yankees, Gary Cooper, another great movie. Black and white film. There are a lot of movies that I will probably not discuss here, and hopefully you will be able to give me some ideas for movies that maybe I have not seen. This is one movie I did see, Gary Cooper and Pride of the Yankees. It's just a great movie. And again, there's Kevin Costner again, Field of Dreams. You know, at the end of that movie, come on, like who didn't shed a tear? Him and his father at the end of that movie. And that field today is still active. Actually, Major League Baseball is building another field off. They did create a small a field for a classic game, but now they're actually building a field for a game to be played there yearly on the actual grounds of Field of Dreams. And you know, if I ever had the money or if I ever had the chance, I would really want to could go to Iowa and see that field. It's on my bucket list, but who knows, someday maybe I'll get there. But Field of Dreams, another great movie. 8 Men Out, the White Sox scandal. Their all-star cast. This is just a great movie of what these men went through, and how they were banned from baseball, and some never played again, and Shoeless Joe Jackson, all that. It's just a great movie. And then we have Moneyball. Moneyball, just a newer movie, but a really good movie based on a true story. Just to see what Billy Beane did to that team, how he built it out of like nobodies, and not enough money, and he cared. And all I can always remember is that he can get on base. He can get on base. He can score runs. And they made it to the playoffs, but they never won the big game. But he showed that with his mathematics of baseball, of recruiting these players, that he could build a winning team, and he showed it in that movie. It's such a great movie. Chris Pratt is in that movie. Just remember when you watch it, Chris Pratt is in that movie. If you get a chance to see Moneyball. And then we have one of my favorite, and I'm probably going to discuss this maybe another time, but The Natural with Robert Redford. Great music, great acting. Robert Redford, Glenn Close, Michael Madsen, the famous Michael Madsen from a lot of the Quentin Tarantino movies. Wilford Brimley. It's just a great movie. And again, I love the music in this movie. And, it's a little bit of a love story too, but it's a great movie with Robert Redford. And then The Sandlot. To be honest with you, I hear a lot about The Sandlot. I've seen some scenes, but I've never seen the whole movie. But what I've seen, I really like The Sandlot. I would recommend it. I have to go back and watch it sometime. I just, sometimes I don't have the time to watch it. I'm busy at work, or I just have to go and watch it. I've watched probably 60% of it, and then I have to turn it off, or I have to go do something. But I should watch the whole film. I've seen the ending several times, but it is such a good movie. And then Major League. I remember when I was in college, and I went up to, I think it was Erie, Pennsylvania, and I was with a bunch of my dorm people I lived with at the dorm. We went up to Erie to this girl's house for the weekend, and we went to see Major League, and one of the guys was from Cleveland, and he was talking all about when they filmed the movie, and how many people they got into the stands, and I just remember that every time I see that movie, where I saw it, I was up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I was in a theater with my college friends. And moving on, we're back to Bull Durham, which moves me on to my next slide, and I am going to talk about a film that I love, and it brings back a lot of memories from when I was a kid, and that is The Bad News Bears, Walter Matthau, and Tatum O'Neal. And if you look very closely at the poster where it says adult entertainment, if you have not seen this movie and you have little kids, I would recommend maybe not letting them see it. I think back then it was rated PG. Today, I think this movie would be rated PG-13. There's some racial slurs in this. There's a lot of cursing from the kids, the coaches. There's drinking. There's smoking. They made a remake with Billy Bob Thornton, which was terrible. But the original is just so good. And let me give you a little background on this. I mentioned last week when I saw Empire Strikes Back. I was in Southbridge, Massachusetts. Well, I was in Southbridge, Massachusetts again in 1976 with my cousins. And my grandparents were there, and we were like, we want to go see this movie about these Bears, this baseball team. And my grandparents didn't really know anything about it. And my grandmother this day, God bless her, she couldn't believe the cursing coming out of kids, and she thought it was such a funny movie, but not good for us as kids at that age. I think I was probably 7 years old when I saw that. But this movie, whenever it's on, and I have it digitally also, I always put some of my favorite scenes on. We'll get into the music later on, as I do at the end with the soundtrack. But Walter Matthau, just excellent as Buttermaker in this movie. And it has this, as it opens up, he is going to be the coach of the Bears, and Councilman Whitewood there sued the league to allow them into this league. And you don't know that right away here in this scene, but he sues the league to get another team into the roster. And as we all know, as you see there, Buttermaker drinks and he smokes, and he really only wants to get paid, and that's what Whitewood does. He pays him. He's like a congressman, and he a state representative, something like that, and he pays him like monthly or weekly to coach this team. And Buttermaker, what he does is he cleans pools for a living in California, there in the Valley. So this is the opening scene of when he first comes to greet the players. So then as he goes in, he is getting the equipment, and you see Cleveland there giving him a hard time because he didn't like the equipment. The equipment kind of had it, and she talks about how Councilman Whitewood sued the league for getting the team in there. He could have went to any other league but this one. And it's a very competitive league, and if you watch the movie, you'll see how competitive it is with some of the teams. So after this, he meets the team for the first time. We have Engelberg, we have Tanner, we have Ahmad Radul Rahim, we have the two Spanish kids, we have Timmy Lupus, and this is where you get to see these kids are kind of like misfits, and they really don't belong in this league. And Buttermaker is just talking to them and just makes them go out on the field and lets them just play any position they want. And you could see off the bat that they're not good players. So then during that day, Engelberg throws the ball outside of the field, and he breaks the glass of Buttermaker's car. And he says, I'm going to, we'll have to take it up with your father. And the kids are cursing here, as of course. And again, I recommend if you have kids that are young, you may want to be careful letting them watch this movie compared to the one with Billy Bob Thornton, which again, I'll say wasn't good. This original is always the best to me. So he tries to explain baseball to the kids, and they kind of don't listen to him. So I just want to give you a little insight on Cleveland here. I can't remember her name, but if she looks very familiar to you, she was in the movie with Adam Sandler. Oh God, now I'm losing my thought here. Oh God, I can't remember. Look at this. It's the Adam Sandler movie with his buddies in the woods. It's got Rob Schneider. She plays Rob Schneider's wife, and she's very old in that movie because this movie was 1976, and now the actress who plays this role, I can't remember the movie. I'm drawing a blank here, but she is Cleveland here, and in the Bad News Bears. I'm trying to remember the name of that movie. I can't remember it. If it hits me, I will bring it up here during the live stream. But if any of you know what it is, please leave a comment below. So anyway, in this scene, they are having a dinner with all the coaches, and she asked Buttermaker about his, does he have his uniforms yet? And he didn't know he had to go out and buy uniforms and get a sponsor. So he goes all around the valley to get a sponsor for his uniforms. So he eventually does get uniforms to the kids, and he does get a sponsor, and you'll see who it is. So then they're still practicing, and you can see this is the day before their first game, and Buttermaker is drunk, and he falls on the field, and the kids don't even know their positions. They don't know what they're doing, and they just go on to the next day to opening day of the baseball, the start of the season. So anyway, and this is the introduction of Kelly Leak, and Kelly Leak is like a bully kid in the neighborhood. He hangs out at the field. He's played by Jackie Earl Haley, and he actually runs on the field on opening day when they're doing the opening day ceremonies, and he crashes into the wall. Cleveland goes up to him. He gets arrested, and he's just you'll see later on that he's continuously around the field, and he ends up. You'll see what happens. I'll explain, and you probably already know. So anyway, this is Vic Morrow, as we all remember. Vic Morrow tragically died in the making of The Twilight Zone, the movie, and that was his last film. But Vic Morrow plays an excellent coach here, and almost like a bully coach in the Yankees. The name of the team's the Yankees. His team's the Yankees, and all he cares about is winning. All he cares about is the field being nice. And this is right after Kelly Leak's character gets arrested. He's looking at them taking him away, and he has to get his composure back to start talking to the crowd again. But Vic Morrow, what a great actor. This is probably one of his memorable films as Coach Turner in the Bad News Bears as the Yankee coach. So then during the national anthem, you'll see he got his sponsor, Buttermaker got the sponsor of Chico's bail bonds for the back of the uniforms there. Every other team had like Denny's, they had like Pizza Hut, but he got Chico's bail bonds. It's actually a funny moment there when you see the players lined up there with their uniforms on. So then the first game starts, and they don't even get out of the first inning. The Bears, they're just horrible. They can't field. The Yankees just kill them. I think it's like 17-0. And in this scene, Buttermaker, he's been drinking the whole time during the first game, and he's calls timeout and goes over to Turner and says, "Hey, why don't we call this off?" And he says, "Why don't you let your kids stay out there? You show that they're not quitters." And he goes, "It would disgrace what I saw out there today." Telling Buttermaker to get the team to quit and just drop out of the league. And Buttermaker says, "I'm just calling this off." So he calls a forfeits the game, and the Bears just are embarrassed. And then one of the players, Abdul Radum Rahim, runs off the field and doesn't even have his uniform anymore. So he climbs up a tree. So Buttermaker goes and hangs up the tree and is talking to him like they were not, he plays outfield, and he said he was dropping all the balls, and Buttermaker says to him, they weren't easy fly balls. You had the sun in your eyes. Says, "Thank God Hank Aaron didn't act like this." And he just says, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You know what I'm talking about, 42 errors." And he talks him into staying. He goes, "I'm going to think about making you bunt." He goes, "I'm fast." He goes, "You're very fast. Got a lot of speed on the field." So he talks him off and down the tree. But he then goes and sees his old girlfriend's daughter, played by Tatum O'Neal, and Amanda Wurlitzer, her name is, and she's a hell of a pitcher. And he thinks about getting her to come onto the team, to ask her to come onto the team, and here he's hiding the mitt underneath his jacket. And she says, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I thought you'd throw around a little bit. I'm coaching a team. Maybe you thought." And she's like, "No, I don't want to do it. I'm done with this. That fastball you taught me when we put my arm in a sling." Like, he taught her how to throw. And she is a really good pitcher, and you'll see later on. So that same day, and I could say Buttermaker in this scene, he hasn't been drinking. So he's starting to feel it for the kids and feel that I have to do something here. So he goes to the field for practice, and they're all sitting in the dugout, and they all have their uniforms there, and they're in their plain clothes. And one of the players goes over, Toby goes over and hands them and says, "Thank you for the uniforms, but we had a vote, and we quit, right?" And they wanted to disbar the team. So he looks at Tanner Boyle, that he's the toughest kid on the smallest, but the toughest kid on the league in the team, and has a foul mouth. And he looks at Tanner and says, "What happened to you?" And Engelberg says he took on the 7th grade. And he goes, "You took on the whole 7th grade?" And he says, "Do you want to quit, Tanner?" And Tanner looks at Buttermaker and says, "Crud, no, I want to play ball." So then Buttermaker says that they deserved a better coach than him, and he apologizes to the kids. So at one point he says to the kids, get your gear on. Engelberg, get behind the plate. And Engelberg says, well, we had a vote. We disbarred the team. And at that point, Buttermaker throws the uniform at Engelberg and says, uses the GD word and says, "No vote. There's no vote around here but mine." And he tells them to get on the field, and he starts teaching them ground balls, teaching them how to keep their one leg planted in the back when they're hitting the ball, how to get one knee down on the ball and attack the ball. And they play a few games, and they lose again, but they lose if they play the whole game, but they're still losing. They still need those few pieces left for the team to actually start winning. So he goes back to Tatum O'Neal, to Amanda Orlinzer, and says to her, "I'll make a deal with you. I'll do this. I'll pay your ballet lessons." So kind of before that, kind of walks away, and she kind of like gives in. Then he says, "I'll pay for this stuff." And in this scene, she's throwing the ball here, and you get to see how good of a fastball she has and how good of a curveball she has. So then she brings them onto the field at practice, and the players at practice can't believe they now have a girl. So she shows how good she is at practice, and then the next game, this is the first batter, maybe the second batter she faces, and she strikes him out. A couple scenes, she licks her fingers and then she touches her cap, and she has Vaseline under there to keep, she has a little slippage on the ball to throw, like I think her curveball or something, and she strikes out the player there. But again, they lose. They're still missing that little piece of the team. They need to get them over that hump there. You know what I mean? Get them over the hump. They need that one little piece. And what happens is at practice, I think if you watch this scene, I've always gone back and watched it before this scene here. But let me line it up here. But when they're at practice, Buttermaker, I think, sees Kelly Leak outside of the field, standing there on his motorcycle, watching them practice. And Buttermaker hits the ball over the fence, foul. And I think his intentions were, and it kind of, you see it, like he's aiming it towards Kelly Leak. And Kelly Leak throws the ball, and it was like almost to, like in between third and home. And he's way outside, foul line, over the fence. And he's like, "We got to get this guy on the team." So he has Amanda Orlinzer go to this arcade and talk to him, but play him in air hockey. And she's pretty good. You see her beating him in just as they're playing. And then she says, "If I win, you play for the Bears." And he says, "If I win," she says, "Name it." So he goes and he wins, right? So at this point, he's telling her, "I'm going to take her out on a date to a Rolling Stone concert," and they're not even teenagers yet. And Buttermaker's all mad that she lost, and she goes back and forth at it, with the language. I have to say, some of it's pretty funny. But the next, this is another scene. There's one of the players on the team, Timmy Luppis. He picks his nose, right? And Tanner makes fun of him all the time. But this was when they weren't playing a game. They were eating at the at the hot dog stand on the field, off the field, I mean. And two of the Yankee players, Vic Morrow's Coach Turner's team, two of the Yankee players pick on Timmy Luppis, and Tanner goes over and starts a fight with them. And, Tanner's a small little kid, foul mouth, will fight anybody. He fought the whole 7th grade. And Tanner gets thrown into the trash can. And you see there, Timmy Luppis has the ketchup all over his uniform because they put it in his hat and then put his hat back on and the ketchup rolled all down. That's why Tanner stuck up for him. And I don't have the actual shot here, but, Tanner in this shot, he says something to Luppis. Maybe you wiped your nose sometime. People wouldn't pick on you so much. And, Luppis is thanking him for sticking up for him. But then Tanner looks at him, and you can see in his eyes, and, who played Tanner, I can't remember, but right there, I thought as a little kid it was great acting. He kind of looked like, he felt sorry for Tanner, and he probably felt sorry about what he said to him right there, right? And in the sequel, there is a sequel, The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training. Timmy Luppis, they call him Luppis, it's Lupus. He breaks his arm or something, or his leg, and he doesn't go with them. And you see how Tanner becomes friends with him, and he writes him postcards the whole time in The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training, which is also a good movie. I probably won't ever review it, but out of the Bad News Bears movies, and we'll get on it at the end, but if I don't say it at the end, there were 3 movies. There was The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training, and The Bad News Bears Go to Japan. One is always going to be the classic to me, just like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I mentioned that in our first live stream, that Raiders of the Lost Ark out of them all is the best, right? And this one is the best. Where the Breaking Training movie was good, still had some funny moments, but never will ever be as good as the original. So moving on here, Tanner sees what he said is wrong and he feels bad. You can see it in his face. So I think the next day or so, Kelly Leak sitting on the bench, and Turner sees him and says, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here." He goes, "I'm just sitting here." He goes, this is for ball players. And he says, "I can play better than anybody on this league." And he goes, "It's a shame we won't see that." And he grabs him by the arm. And to this day, if a father grabbed another kid by the arm, I mean, like, what would happen today, right? If your son got grabbed by another father, but he grabs him by the arm and tells him to get out of here, right? In so many words, right? And Kelly Leak looks at him like this, and you can't really see, but his motorcycle's on the other side of the bench there. And he gets on his motorcycle and drives away. And then the next scene, at break, the Bears are in the dugout, and Buttermaker tells them they have to wear cups and supporters. And, what's Amanda Wollenser going to do? She can't, why does she have to wear a cup, right? She doesn't have anything down there, right? So as they're doing that, Kelly Leak shows up, and he says, if she doesn't wear one, neither do I. So then at practice, she throws the ball to see how good he can hit at practice. And he says, "A little harder, huh?" So she throws it real hard. And which is really cool in this scene, he swings the bat, and it's at practice. The ball flies, but as the ball's flying, it cuts to the actual game. And that's when he hits the home run. The Bears win their first game, and that's the piece they needed. Needed the pitcher, and they needed Kelly Leak, right? And then they start winning. And as you see, they're moving up the ranks here. They're down at the bottom. They start moving up. What always got me here was, right, the Bears were playing, right? This was only like their third, or I don't know how many games, but like, if you watch this shot over and over again, and they're showing the Bears move up the ranks, the Yankees stayed at 16-0. All the other teams stayed the same, record. The Yankees were 16-0. Like, how many games did they play in this league? When I was a kid and I played baseball, it was I think I played 16 games. But I was always wondering how many games were the Yankees? Did they play their full 16 games that quick? I always thought that the Yankees were already 16-0. Like, how many games did they actually play in the Hill Valley League there? I think it was Hill Valley they were playing in. But yeah. So they move up the ranks here, and they move all the way up to if they win the next, like, this one game, they make it to the championship the next day with the Yankees. And at this scene here, and his little backstory here, he tells Kelly Leak during this game, any ball in the outfield, go for it. So Kelly Leak plays, I think, center field, and a ball's hit the right field. Kelly Leak runs over and grabs it. Ball's hit the right field, left field, he goes and grabs it. Right field, he goes and grabs it. Shortstop, he catches it. And the team sees that and doesn't like it. So at one point, he actually misses a ball and drops it, and Buttermaker gets mad here. And there were 2 outs in the last inning, and Kelly Leak's up, and he's just standing there up to the plate, and he's just standing there not swinging. He's just letting the balls go right by. Strike 1, strike 2, and Buttermaker calls timeout, goes up to him and tells him, I'll take him out of the game, and then he hits a home run. Game's over. They win. They're going to the championship the next day against the Yankees, right? So the next day, the players are all mad at Kelly Leak, and he's going to quit, but then he doesn't quit. Buttermaker says, if you want to blame me, I told him what to do yesterday. And he said, you got to the championship, right? That's what you wanted, wasn't it? So, but before that, when this game ends, as I said earlier, Amanda Waldenser, Buttermaker, used to date her mother, her mother. And she's talking to Buttermaker in the dugout, and he's icing her arm down because she has to pitch the next day. And she's trying to say, hey, trying to get his mother and him back together. And Buttermaker is like talking her out of it. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, sure. We'll take the team out. She goes, no, just me and my mom and you and me. And he's like blowing her off. And he says, I'm a bum. I drink, I smoke. I'm a bum. And she says, no, you're not. You've taught me everything. And he throws this. And this is a classic scene. I really wish that I could show you these scenes. I just don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. That's why I'm showing the snapshots. But he throws his beer at her, like splatters it all over. And a classic scene with Walter Matthau in that scene, yelling at Amanda, just saying, don't you understand? Can't you get out of your thick head that I don't want to be around you? You know, if I would have called you 2 GD years, he says. And she walks away. And as she's walking away, she's looking at the sunset, and she's crying. And Buttermaker knows he did wrong there, right? Because as she's walking away, he crushes his beer in anger, right? Because he hurt this girl, right? His ex-girlfriend's daughter, who he really does love. You'll see in the movie, he does love her, right? This is why I think this movie is a classic. It's not because of the comedy. It's not, the comedy is great. It's funny. But go back and look at some of the drama in this, right? Tatum O'Neal, great. Walter Matthau, classic. And then in this scene when she's crying, they cut to Buttermaker, and he's slowly opening up his beer, and he's looking at her as she walks away. And Walter Matthau, the tears coming out of his eyes, or building up in his eyes, because he knows he did wrong, right? And he can't correct it. He I think he tries in so many ways too with the team, but it's just if you watch this and she walks away, there's no talking. When she's walking away, he says a few words. The music is just beautiful. You see her walk away into the sunset. She cries. He slowly sits down, and that tear builds up in his eyes, almost like Denzel Washington in Glory, like we talked about last week. Just that buildup of the tears. Just a beautiful scene there. So we go the next day, and they have to play the Yankees. And during the game, a brawl breaks out because Amanda gets spiked by one of the Yankee players coming home, spikes her, and you could see it in the scene. He spikes her, right? And I mean, he lifts his one leg up and hits her right in the gut. And she says she doesn't have too much up there, but it really does hurt. So Buttermaker, in an anger rage, not anger rage, goes over to Turner and says, he says that, that is spiking an 11-year-old girl, and he says the umpire called it safe. He's pointing at the umpire. The umpire called it safe. You want to go cry in your dugout. Your cry baby, he calls him. So through the rest of the movie here, they bicker back and forth to each other. And one thing that Turner does, every time Kelly Leak comes up the bat, he walks him. Now today in baseball, they just say 4, go down the first. But back then, you put your arm out, right, and the catcher, you had to throw 4 balls out over past home plate, say that you're walking a guy. And to speed the game up now in baseball, they just say 4, go to first, right? They don't throw the ball over anymore. So he walks. He constantly walks Kelly Leak during the game. So Buttermaker, as a manager, has to strategize, right? Figure out how he can get some runs on the team. So in one scene, he tells Rudy Stein is another player on the team who's a terrible pitcher, and this is why they had to get Amanda Wurlitzer. He can't even get the ball over the plate. So this is the second scene, but the first scene, he tells Stein to take a ball and let it hit him, and Stein gets hit, gets on base. Engelberg comes up. Stein scores from, because Engelberg's murdering the ball. So in the next scene, and next time the lineup goes around and Stein's up again, he walks up, Stein, he says, Stein, same thing. And Stein won't do it because he says it hurts. I don't want, he goes, it just gets hit in the side, in the leg, right? So Stein doesn't listen to him. And I'm going to tell you right now, the scene I talked about earlier with Walter Matthau crying is a good scene. But the scene right after Stein does not get hit with the ball, he swings and he's out at first base, 3 outs, the inning's over. He freaks out. Buttermaker freaks out. And he throws Stein into the dugout. And one of the classic lines in the movie that I love the most is when he yells at the players. He said, he tells Stein, next time I tell you to do something, you do it, or else you're off this team. And he says, what's the rest of you? What's the matter with you? All season long, you've been laughed at, which they were, right? Laughed at, crapped on. Now you got a chance to spit it back in their faces and he goes, and what do? You're out there like a bunch of dead fish, bonehead mistakes, dumb plays. And he says, don't you want to beat those bastards? And he screams at the kids in anger. His anger is just amazing to me. And the kids are just staring at him. And what happens in that scene after he yells at them, and this is when he's yelling at them, he gets done, and they show you the kids in this shot. And I should have showed you more here, but he actually, they cut to each of the kids, and you just see the innocence on their faces. Innocence, these young kids, the innocence on their faces. And they don't know what to say, right? He's the coach. They're listening to him. So then it cuts to Walter Matthau. And this is the end of the cut. But when they cut to him, the eyes glassy again. You see the tears coming. He knows that the innocence in these kids, what he said was wrong. And he got back to his composure, and he said, now get out there and do the best you can. Right? So they go back out in the field. They're playing. Amanda gets so tired her arm that they have to put Rudy Stein in, right? So Rudy can't even get the ball over the plate. The Yankees start hitting like they did the first game of the season against the Bears, and the Yankees go up 4 runs, right? So the game's over. Game's over. Well, Buttermaker actually put some of the worst players on the team in the game, and they have to come up the bat. And one kid walks. Ahmad Radul Rahim comes up and bunts. And then one of the little Mexican kids, Miguel, he walks because he's so small. So who's up next but Kelly Leak? And Turner here is telling the pitcher, and there's more to this too. Turner does have a son in this movie that he treats really bad, and something happens to his son. I'm asking you to go back and watch it because you'll see some parenting there too as well. And great acting by Vic Morrow and his wife. You know who his wife was. She was a great actress too in this movie. But Kelly Lee comes up, right? We got bases loaded. So what's Turner telling him to do? He's telling him to walk him. And so there's the bases are full. So you're putting the tying run on first base, right? So Kelly Lee gets ball one. And, you know, like I said, the catcher's got the glove out like this. They got it out like this, you know. So Kelly Lee doesn't know what to do. So he looks over at the dugout to his coach, Buttermaker. Buttermaker gives him the little, you know, reach outside, try and hit it, right? Reach outside. Just try and reach out for it. Kelly Lee's got some power. So he reaches out and he hits it. And dramatic music here. Dramatic music. The music in this movie is so great, and I'll get into that at the end. But the music in this is so great, and he rounding the bases. He doesn't hit a home run. He hits it all the way to the wall, and he rounds the bases, and he's thrown out. Right? To me, I watch it. I think he was safe. Right? To this day, I watch that scene over and over again. It looks like to me he's safe. He got under the tag. No replay back then. So he's out. Bears are disappointed. Season's over. Second place. I know how it feels. I came in second place sometimes in baseball when I played. And I played softball when I was older. I did win some championships in softball, but never in baseball. But I know the feeling. So Buttermaker decides to give the players beer. To this day, giving the players beer, PG-13 movie. And the councilman Whitewood's there. He's got a photographer. You know, you shouldn't be giving the kids the beer. And then they go in front of the Yankees, in front of the championship trophy, right? And how would you feel, right? Seeing the championship trophy, and you're given this little dinky trophy. So you're going from this gigantic trophy right here, and you're staring at it, and you're getting this little dinky trophy. And you could see Buttermaker staring at the championship trophy, knowing that would have been mine, right? And it's sad. It is. So then the Yankees give him a little cheer. The players say, "You guys have guts. You know, we don't think you're still a good baseball team, but you all have guts, all of you." And they give him a cheer, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? And they walk away. And in classic Turner fashion, he turns around and says, "Hey, Yankees, take this trophy and shove it, you know." And Timmy Lupus throws the second place trophy at the Yankees. And actually, I watched this scene over and over again. I think it actually, in this scene, I don't know if it was supposed to hit that kid, but I think it hit that kid. And Vic Morrow, I think, in that shot was a little shocked when that happened. I don't think it was supposed to hit him. But it kind of hits him, then it hits the ground. And then Timmy Lupus says, yeah, just wait till next year. And it ends with that classic music in the Bad News Bears. And then at the very end, you see the team here, the team photo. These kids, you know, I watched this movie. There's some videos online where you can go and I always wanted to go see the field where they filmed the movie And actually, if you go there, it is still there today, but it doesn't even look like that. They redid everything. It doesn't even look like it did back in 1976. But it just to be there, it would really be really cool to see the field. But and you hear once in a while what happened to some of these kids. They show you them. They're online. There was a website I used to go to, the Bad News Bears website, and I don't think it's really kept up anymore. But yeah, this is a classic movie, and classic in the way of comedy. But like I said earlier, go back and watch the scenes, the dramatic scenes, because they're really good. And if you ever read the back of the original VHS tape, it said this was a surprise hit of 1976. And it was a surprise hit in 1976. The Bad News Bears. Yeah. So I highly recommend it. And getting to the soundtrack, I did look it up. The soundtrack is out there. It's hard to find. I'm trying to find it. It was music by Carmen, classic music. I'm hoping to get it. I just want to hear that music, and in some of my other videos I've posted here on live stream, I like listening to the music and just trying to remember what scene that was in the movie. I just love listening to that and just trying to figure out. And this says the Bad News Bears trilogy. I think there's a trilogy album that has all three movies: Bad News Bears in Breaking Training, and the Bad News Bears Go to Japan. The original is the classic music that I like from Carmen. It's really, really, really good. Again, I'm trying to find it. Hopefully we'll have it to listen to. But Bad News Bears, just a great movie, great soundtrack, great acting. I highly recommend it. There is a lot of baseball movies out there, like I said, but this one is something that's dear to the heart that I saw when I was young in Southbridge, Massachusetts, with my cousins. So that's going to do it for this week. I just want to remind everybody that we do have our other channel still going. I'm posting videos there. We'll actually be posting a trip that we did just the other day, the week before Memorial Day weekend. We just took a little walk one day. And I'm hoping that, and we do have crafts out there. We're doing some crafts. We got some holiday crafts for Memorial Day. We have some spring crafts out there for you. So we're going to continue that page, always continue it. We hope that you guys are watching it, staying with us on the channel and this channel too. I'm going to be sure to keep posting movie videos here. My favorite movies. I'm going to talk about, again, films I like. And I'm not done with baseball. I'll go back to baseball. I'll go back to Memorial Day movies. But these are some of the ones that are dear to my heart. But one thing I am going to do, I am going to probably go see on Memorial Day weekend, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And I'm probably going to try for my first time, give my own movie review of that after seeing it. And I hope you can join me for that. And there's a couple other summer movies I want to see. One, I'll give you a little hint, the Karate Kid, the new Karate Kid movie coming out. And I will definitely on this channel be doing a Karate Kid review because that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I'm saying Mr. Stan 913, that's my other channel, but I'm Stan O. This is the Stan O Show. I hope you had a great time tonight. I hope you continue to watch my show and continue to watch my channel. I'm going to try to get some good content out here again for you. So again, as always, as I always say, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.